If you would join me in a moment of silent prayer or reflection. Jerry, would you call the roll, please?
Kathy Cox.
Here.
Ellen Ward.
Here.
Johnny Maston.
Here.
Pat Rooney.
Here.
Nicole Cohen. Here.
Stand with me and join the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jerry, do we have any calls to the public? No. Okay. So, Mr. Murray, would you like to give us a bond update?
It's nice to be able to stand and stretch my legs. I've been behind a computer all day, so thank you for the opportunity to stand. Mr. President, members of the board, as part of our ongoing commitment to keep you as a board informed as well as the public, we are here again to, I am here again to update you on the current status of many of our projects that are going on throughout the district. As you're aware, the four main areas are in the areas of maintenance, technology, transportation, and athletics. So I'm going to take each of those areas and just highlight basically what is happening to date and what's in progress actually as of right now. You'll recall that I came to the board along with Mr. Kearns to propose purchases of trucks and utility vans for our maintenance department and the fleet that they have. An update as of this morning, the estimated arrival for our trucks that were purchased and the utility vans will be in early February. That's the estimate time for delivery. Currently they're being fitted and the installation of the utility boxes and storage racks that will be inside of these utility vans used for plumbing and electric and those things. Currently they're being equipped to allow our maintenance crew to actually utilize these trucks and this equipment to the best of their ability, keeping things organized and arranged. By way of equipment, the board also approved a field mower a couple months back, a John Deere field mower, a scissor lift, and something that I added here that we've talked about, which was not a part of the original discussion, but it was a discussion on what kind of equipment to purchase as these bond dollars come available. You'll recall that on one of the old, it's probably, yeah, actually it is right here in this picture. The bottom right corner of the transportation picture there's an old dump truck, and rather than purchasing a dump truck, which is anywhere from $65,000 on up into the $90,000 range, we felt that it was probably a little bit more advantageous to purchase a dump trailer, which was under $9,000 to do that. And there's no motor to maintain, but that is something that we needed for our fleet, especially our maintenance and grounds people, to be able to utilize a dump trailer to throw shrubbery and whatnot into that, and then be able to easily go down and dispose of it. So we did purchase a dump trailer here locally about a month or so ago. Like I said, it was just under $9,000 compared to upwards to $90,000 for an actual truck. Flooring right now in the maintenance department, they are involved in a district-wide assessment to see exactly how many classrooms we're going to be able to address as far as replacing flooring. They're trying to prioritize to the highest level of need. So we're looking at classrooms which are in immediate need of replacement for carpet. We had a stud room over at the high school several months back that really needed carpet, so we went ahead and acted upon that from a safety standpoint to replace that one room. So that has been completed. Part of this district-wide assessment, we're also seeing some trends, not many, but there have been some flooring issues that have gone before the SFB, and some have been successful with that. So what we're trying to do as part of this assessment is to really focus on those areas of really, truly, real true safety concerns. So that's what we're going to do, and part of that assessment, once that's completed, we're going to take that down to the SFB to see if they'll go ahead and pay for any of those floor replacements. So that's part of this process here. Flooring, as you know, it's not something that we can do during the school year because of there's students that are present in the room. So we're going to have to strategically organize and have that carried out during the off season, whether it's over fall break, or winter break, or summer, spring break. Here's a picture of the mower that was purchased. It's a field mower. It's quite large with two extendable booms, one out each side, to cover quite a lot of turf in one pass. We have something that's similar to this now, but obviously it's much older, much older. So this is something that will help our grounds people be more efficient in taking care of the maintenance needs of our schools. Here's the maintenance, or the dump trailer that we purchased. It has 3-foot sides, so it'll allow us to use any of our district trucks to be able to move this around the district, giving greater accessibility to all of our maintenance people to move this around to all of our various sites. In regards to transportation, as of today, this morning, we have the 3 buses that you know are on order, estimated arrival time about mid-February or so. Right now the chassis have been completed and these buses are in the AC shop, getting fabricated, retrofitted, and ACs installed for that. They are still out of the state, getting that work completed. We're expecting the buses to move into Arizona sometime mid-February, and then ready for us to take delivery on these buses around the mid to end of February. We do have a truck that was also ordered, a heavy-duty F-350 pickup truck that will be used in transportation for the use of heavier hauls, such as major parts pickups. If there's a transmission or something like that that needs to be picked up, we can use this heavy-duty truck to be able to do that. But it'll also be primarily used as a tow vehicle to allow for safe tow, and especially used as we have our van, who has a quite large trailer, to be able to haul that throughout the state. So that'll be part of the transportation department's vehicle, not only for internal use, but also for student activities as well. In technology, technology is by way of projects. The fiber cable switches and Wi-Fi at the high school have been completed. They were completed in December. Ongoing, we have computer and peripherals, software, data storage that's ongoing where these purchases are made. Mrs. Miner and myself, we were on the phone just this afternoon with Visions, Tyler Technologies. That process is continuing on, so we have a timeline that's being established at this point. We had to do a district self-assessment as to what our equipment needs are, if there was anything that needed to be upgraded on our computer systems. We needed to be able to do that before we actually roll over into July's implementation period and moving completely over to Visions. We passed that. There didn't seem to be any needs at all that we needed to address, so we're carrying on and moving forward. We have another conference call Thursday, I believe it is, this week, and then next week we have actually a laid out timeline, implementation, training, and whatnot for Visions rollout. Upgrades to phones, bells, intercoms, and surveillance are all future projects that are being looked at this time. And the district's technology department is actually, I did see some representatives here today, but any questions relating to that and timelines, we can defer to them. But they are planning for our future needs when it comes to those items. Athletics facilities in Lee Barnes Stadium. As you know, this is definitely going to be a focal point of the community. Core Construction held a subcontractor fair at the London Bridge Resort on December 21st in an attempt to bring as much information as we can to local contractors, local subcontractors, trying to rally support and get them involved in this process. So we did have that on December 21st, just before the break. Currently, we're in the stages of finalizing the drawings. They were about 80 to 90% complete several weeks back, so we are getting to that point where we're finalizing the drawings. The competitive bidding process has begun to where we're going to establish, actually they're going to establish the guaranteed maximum price for that project. And our target date is actually a special meeting, governing board meeting in February. I believe it's the 13th, if I remember right. It's the actual day of the work session, so we'll kind of piggyback that on with the work session to hopefully bring that guaranteed maximum price to the board for you to vote on that. Any questions?
What kind of attendance did they give that subcontractor fair? Did they say how many locals attended?
I was there in attendance, and we had, I would say, probably maybe 8.
Different
Yeah,
trades,
that would
all
be-
different trades.
Yes, different, mostly fencing, some local vendors that would actually furnish some supplies and materials. But 8 would actually be, as I'm looking around the room, 8 probably included the 2 representatives from CORE as well. So we wish we had a little bit more.
Is there a timeline on the painting at the high school?
The painting at the high school, thank you for that question. That's actually a school facilities board project. They are hoping to have that done in February, correct? That was the last timeline, and they're actually moving along quite quickly at that.
I understand you're doing an assessment on the flooring replacement. I just want to throw a balloon up in the air. The school I just came from, we went back and took a close look at it. And for the classes that primarily focus on seniors and juniors, we took all carpets out because you're not facing the same noise issues. It meant we didn't have to replace carpets, we didn't have to worry about stains. Just a thought, when they do the assessment, they might look into that.
Thank you. We are actually trying to look at all different materials, and surfaced, sanded and stained concrete was one of those to
Well, with the younger classes, you've got a noise issue, and carpets make sense. But with the older classes, you avoid the noise issue, and you avoid having to replace carpets for stains, rips, and all that.
And there are a few options with that. We're looking at rolled carpet, just regular traditional rolled carpet, which is much cheaper. We can probably, going that route, equip more rooms with that, but we're also looking at carpet squares for that reason, that if there is an isolated area of damage, we can take up just those affected squares and then put down replacement squares. They're a little more expensive, but when it comes to addressing issues and damage, then we can do that in an isolated area.
Well, I know I was the first room that they went to, took the carpets out, left me with tile. And at first I thought, I'm not sure about this, but I found I could move my desks easier, my chairs easier, I could rearrange my room, and I had none of the problems that I had with carpets. Just a thought.
Thank you.
Somebody back there with their hand raised.
Yes.
On the subcontractor meeting, we were not able to attend. Who do we reach out to get more information on bidding and stuff? Is it CORE?
If you would like, CORE is one of them, but to make it easier and probably to give you a direct contact, you can contact my office, or if you're here until the end of the meeting, you can see me at the end, and I'll take your name and number, and I'll pass that on to our maintenance supervisor as well.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Murray. Thank you. Next on our agenda is our report from the Lake Havasu Education Association. Ms. Nowakowski.
Right. So just a recap of the last month, number one, Saturday, the 8th of January, I was able to attend the march at the Capitol. And so there was over 3,000, so that was pretty exciting and an event to be a part of. And then we came home, and then Monday was our State of Address from Governor Ducey, who is promising some funds, which, these are my notes. So not to look a gift horse in the mouth, but he is promising $1.7 billion invested into K-12. So included in that, or since 2015, included in that was our Prop 123. What I'm excited to see is that they have included that 1.06 into the budget, so we should be able to count on that and not just a stipend that will go into the budget. He has a 5-year rollout to help with our AA with the district and the 5-year rollout is $1.7 billion to take care of, even though we are at a loss right now at $1.7 billion, almost $2 billion. So his 1.7 is, or 1.1 is great, but we're still going to be almost $1 billion short. So we're still asking for as much funds as we can from our state and from our legislators. And I currently have an email going in. Just a question. What is the education fund? I know it's in the general fund. General fund is really just 25% of the entire fund. 26. And 26, depending on what you're looking at. And so the question is because a lot of people throw out of Arizona is going towards K-12, and they're going to try all the funds that are leaving Arizona. 17% is really just going to K-12. So I'm getting some information from our Senator Borelli, and hope to report back to you exactly what that means. So, all right. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 4 is our consent agenda, and I'll entertain a motion on that.
I make a motion we approve and accept the consent agenda.
Second.
Terry, if you call for the vote.
Pat Rooney,
Yes.
Alan Ward,
Yes.
Kathy Fox,
Yes.
Nicole Cohen,
Yes.
John Maston.
Yes. We have no old business, so we'll start with item number 6 on our agenda. 6.1 is approval of lighting upgrade at Lake Havasu High School Little Theater, and that would be Becker and Becker.
Yes.
Sounds like a law firm.
I wish. Have more money. Mr. President, members of the board, it is recommended that the board approve the upgrade and replacement of the lighting system in the Little Theater at LHHS for the amount of $25,212.84. The rationale for this: in order to provide a quality experience for our technical theater students at Lake Havasu High School, certain components are necessary. The primary component is lighting. The facility at LHHS does not have the ability to create or illustrate modern practices concerning the technical lighting aspects of the program, as required by current state standards and testing. Currently, the LHHS Little Theater is not up to the industry standard, and we would like to make facility upgrades to address these areas and to alter the technical aspects of the program in the area of lighting. The Little Theater is used by a variety of disciplines at LHHS. In fact, the facility holds presentations put on by guidance, administration, and community organizations, along with both traditional and modern high school productions, including plays and high caliber musicals. Currently, students are required to plan, design, operate, and work real technical aspects of theater. These technical applications come in the form of 12 full performance performances a year, including plays, 2 musical theater productions. This does not include classroom instruction and practical application, nor does it include various student body events that require performance level lighting. In its current state, however, the lighting system is outdated and cannot meet current demands. In addition to many of the outdated components are non-operational at this point, including a failing light board, which has failed twice during 2 performances. This project is funded by the Western Arizona Vocation Education School District, and the vendor is currently under MESC contract. There's a long list of numbers there. And this item has been approved or reviewed by purchasing.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion on 6.1.
I move we accept 6.1 as presented and written.
Second. Okay, discussion. So the light board is about dead.
Yes,
Okay. And this replaces the entire lighting system?
the entire lighting system.
This replaces, I'm sorry, the light board, as we can kind of,
Mr. Fox.
I'm sorry, Jason Bowers. The light board, as far as we can guess, the building was built about 20 years ago. I think 1998 was the date, if I'm not incorrect. The light board, I can't imagine, went in anywhere more than 4 or 5 years after that. I would have thought that they put the entire spectrum in the facility once it got built. So I'd put it about 15, 20 years old. It's an analog board.
Okay.
And so analog is outdated now. Everything's digital pretty much. And so the problem we have now is that the board goes out as a safety issue during a performance, and the facility is meant to be pitch black. So when that goes out, it's happened twice. One time a student fell, the other time no accidents. Because it goes pitch black, and it's like getting a flash in your face, and then you're out. You can't coordinate yourself for probably about, 20 seconds. So in order to change the light board out that's failing, and no longer, well, it's not digital, we also have to replace the dimmer pack, which is an enormous expense, which is probably the most expensive part of the whole process. We're not replacing the entire light system, but we are replacing some lights that cause a safety issue for us up on the ceiling. And also, they have lights up there that are a hodgepodge of lights that are like garage sale that we have accumulated from different places in the community, and so they're not the proper lights for up there, so it does not give us the wash that we need on the stage. So these will be LEDs if everything's approved. The bulbs will not need to be changed out, which requires us not to have to get the scissor lift, which is also a safety aspect of it as well. So there's a lot of elements involved, but basically we're looking for 10 source 4s up top on the ceiling that provide us a nice wash, a new light board, and the dimmer system. Also, they're replacing the, I don't know, have any of you ever been in a little theater? The house light systems don't work. They're inoperable. They're little panels on the walls, and I don't think you guys have any in here, but there's about 4 of them. Apparently they haven't worked in forever, and the electrician and maintenance says they've never worked. And so what they did is they bypassed it and put in some manual light switches, and so basically it's just not efficient. So they're also putting that in there to make it usable for anybody in the community to be able to hit a button and turn on some house lights. So it's a little bit of an overhaul.
Now, are we doing any curtain work or anything like that?
No, curtains are in great shape. The theater's in great shape. The sound is in great shape. The facilities are in great shape. It's just this lighting system is failing, and it's kind of becoming a safety issue for us. So
20 years down the road.
who would have thought the technology changes? So yeah. So and then plus the testing that the kids are required to take. The vast majority of questions all have to do with lighting technology that we do not have. And so they don't test well on the lighting component parts of the state exam. So hopefully this will help. Yeah.
Can you keep us up to date as we go through this? What I don't want to see is I don't want to see us take on this project and then when we get done there'd be 1 or 2 things that we decided we'd cut corners on.
Well, Clearwing is the company that's in charge. Clearwing did a lighting upgrade in the Kingman High School as well as, was it Lee Williams? Lee Williams, and that's where we got the request from. Those were new facilities. We're obviously older. Clearwing came in, $25,000 is not a lot of money. And so they, I mean, it is a lot of money for me, but it's not a lot of money for that. And so they gave us the biggest bang for our buck to make it safe and workable for our students as well as for us to teach what they need to learn to be able to go out in the field and practically be able to do this in real life.
So absolutely. And we have other lights that work, and we just keep functioning. So it's a nice balance between them learning the old capacities and the new capacities. And we work closely with Sam Brindis over in the PAC, and we do get some older stuff, but the garage sale stuff that he doesn't use anymore, we bring on over. So hopefully they don't fit right, but we're doing the best we can. So yeah, sure. Thank you for your consideration on that.
How long have the lighting standards been in place?
Goodness, the standards for the entire technical theater program since I've been here for 3 years have been in place since I've been here. So these standards, however, sometimes when you get a drama teacher or a theater teacher that comes in, they major in drama but not necessarily in technical theater. And so they're two different disciplines. Luckily, working in the professional field, I've had to actually do the technical theater and all those aspects. So now the facility, we want to be able to use it for what it's for, which the other teachers may have just put the lights up and said, that's it, let's just have our production. Whereas, as you go to a show, you have a light cue change every minute, 2 minutes. And sometimes you'll have 159, 160, 250 light cues and changes with every scene and everything that's happening. Well, we're not capable of doing that, but we've tried to do that with the analog system the best that we can, and so we're just kind of pushing it to its capacity, which isn't much. But we're doing the best we can. So,
What's the estimated life of the light system?
you know, it's really hard to tell as far as technology goes. I imagine the one that we have will be functional for 10 years at least, but it'll probably be outdated like anything else within 5 or 6 years. But for what we use it for, they've used this analog board for 15 years at least, I'm guessing. And we're still using it for the best way we can. So, but I'm anticipating 5 years minimum, but I would anticipate 10, 15 years, because this would be a digital board, so there'll also be software involved.
Right.
So we could upgrade software as well. The company itself does all the training, and they also have, I believe it's a year where they come out and they answer any questions, help us with anything that we have. And the other facilities that have gotten it, both of the teachers have said that they have been so happy with the support that they've gotten. And they're local, they're in Phoenix. So, yeah, and they do everything, which is nice. Yeah, so pretty excited.
Cool. Any other questions for Mr. Fowler?
I just wonder how much money we got for the standards.
I don't know. I could research that.
I'm being sarcastic.
Curious? Yeah, I don't know. I just know when I looked at the standards for the lighting, it's the highest number of questions on the state exam, period. The highest. And that's the least qualified element that we have in the theater itself. So, and even the PAC doesn't have real, they just got new lighting systems. So, but I can't mess with that stuff over there at Soundworks. So, yeah. That's it, yes. Thank you so much.
Any questions for Mr. Becker on this? Terry, I think we're ready to call for the vote.
Alan Ward,
Yes.
Kathy Cox,
Yes.
Nicole Cohen,
Yes.
Pat Rooney,
Yes.
John Manson.
Yes. 6.2 is approval of vouchers, student activity funds, and auxiliary funds. Mr. Murray?
Mr. President, members of the board, it's recommended the governing board approve the vouchers for December 2017, as well as student activity funds for grades K through 12 and auxiliary funds for November 2017.
I'll entertain a motion on 6.2.
Make a motion to approve 6.2 as presented.
Second. Okay, do we have any questions on 6.2?
Oh, that's it. It's everything else came electronically.
We have no questions. I'd call for the vote, Terry.
Kathy Cox,
Yes.
Nicole Cohen,
Yes.
Pat Rooney,
Yes.
Alan Ward,
Yes.
John Manson.
Yes. Item 6.3, approval to release request for proposal, number 171803 on WAN fiber build. Mrs. Minor?
Mr. President and members of the board, it is recommended the governing board approve a request to release request for proposal number 17-18-03 WAN fiber build. Approval of this item will allow district staff to release request for proposal number 17-18-03, the WAN fiber build. The purpose of this project is to construct an improved wide area network between district sites, increase internet access capacity, and reduce the recurring expenses associated with the WAN. It is currently leased for $86,400 annually, 80% of which is funded by E-rate and 20% by the district. Once approved by E-rate, the funding for this project will come from multiple sources. The available E-rate funding is 90% of project costs through Category 1 for special construction. The remaining 10% would come from the Arizona Corporation Commission's state matching fund through the Arizona Broadband for Education Initiative. By initiating the RFP prior to the 2019-2020 E-rate filing deadline, LHUSD will have access to the additional 10% match, which will allow the work to be completed at zero cost to the district. I do have Mr. Frank Vanderhorst in the audience, our E-rate consultant, and Mr. Sean Baker, our tech supervisor, for any questions you may have.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion on 6.3.
I make a motion to accept 6.3 as presented.
Second. All right. Do we have questions?
It's free.
Does everybody know what this does?
Tell us.
Mr. Baker, if you'd be so kind.
Sure. This is, as mentioned, a zero-cost upgrade to the district to improve the connections between our buildings. We recently underwent a very large upgrade to our internal networks inside the buildings, so the backbone has now been improved to 10 gigabits. What we're hoping to do is to build a replacement network that will match or come close to or maybe even exceed that, to prepare us for the future expansion and capacity inside of the district. So there are variables that are in there, and they're built into the RFP, but ultimately we're hoping to come out ahead with improved capacity and do so at a reduced cost or no cost to the district. When I say reduced cost, I'm referring to the recurring cost. So the $84,000 that had been mentioned previously, we're seeking not only improved connectivity between the buildings, but also our internet connection as well.
So that $84,000 worth of recurring cost number, when we look at that number, there's two components to that in general terms. There's the internet service provider connection fee, and then there's a construction cost built into that as well for the internet service provider to build out their network to accommodate us.
Correct.
And so the way we reduce our rate is to remove that construction cost component to the internet service provider.
That's right. The funding would come in to build that network.
So save a little money, not a bad plan. Any questions based on that?
No, but it's still not free.
No, the money comes from somewhere.
But some of it's free money.
None of it is free money.
You pay for it, Maureen.
We're paying for it.
I'll show you on your phone bill where you're paying for it.
Right.
Carrie, if you'd call for the vote.
Nicole Cohen,
Yes.
Kathy Cox,
Yes.
Ellen Ward,
Yes.
Pat Rooney,
Yes.
John Masson.
Yes. Item number 7 on our agenda is informational items. Do we have any, Mrs. Aside?
I actually do have a couple of items. First of all, as always, we like to thank our donors, and this month in January we had $2,757 donated primarily in jackets for students, and this time of year that's always helpful. We appreciate all of our donors, and then uniforms and bus trips, and so things that are of need to our students have been on our donation list. The second thing that I would have, and this is just an opportunity to thank our board. As you know, we are members of the ASBA, which is the Arizona School Boards Association, and several of you attend various conferences and trainings, and the ASBA does like to recognize that. And so Mr. Rooney, who has been a member for probably the longest on the board right now, has earned 162.53 CEU awards, and he actually has been awarded a Copper Star from which goes really well with the shirt he's wearing.
school.
So Mr. Rooney has a certificate, and then we have Mrs. Cox, who has completed 12.3 hours of training for school boardsmanship. We have Mr. Masden, who has completed 8.3 hours, and Mr. Ward, who has completed 6.3 hours. And so I think for the audience and just generally, the work of the board is very rule-driven, and the laws are very specific. It's easy for board members to get into trouble with not understanding the law as it relates to the function of a school governing board that performs its work in public. And so these trainings, while they may not seem like a lot of hours, they do provide that foundation to make good decisions and to be able to respond in the situations that come up. So thank you for doing that. And I know that many of you have done that through other avenues, as well, like online viewing and so forth.
That was kind, thank you.
Well,
Yes,
yeah.
I didn't get an award because I don't go to those trainings.
You can have mine.
But all the information is there, we can read it.
Yeah,
too.
it's all there.
And since we're members, we get it electronically too, we just have to ask for it.
And then in the other area, just to mention that we did have our first discipline subcommittee meeting for the board that was held last week, and we had all of the invitees who attended. It was a very productive meeting. We are meeting again on the 24th, I believe. I could be wrong about that date. Yes, and so that is coming up. And that's about it. I think most everything else is good.
Is that a discipline meeting? Is that going to be? Is it available publicly?
Yes,
Okay.
the board subcommittee meetings are posted as public meetings. Yeah. And they start at 9 o'clock. So the discipline committee will go from 9 to 11 on that day.
All right. Carrie, do we have any additional calls to the public?
No, we did not.
Board reports?
Oh, I'm sorry. Board reports. My bad. I'm new.
I know. Does anybody else have anything? No? Okay. I just want to, I'll keep it really short, but I'm just going to drop little bits of truth for the next 12 meetings before I'm gone. And so tonight I'll keep it really short, though, as to not shock everybody. So Bloom's taxonomy, I know we've talked about it in here, and I know that all the teachers in the room are very familiar, and principals. For those that aren't, it's a set of learning domains, and I guess Benjamin Bloom was promoting higher forms of thinking and education, like analyzing and evaluating concepts, processes, procedures, and principles. And so this is something that all public schools use in some form or fashion. So I'm just going to read everybody a quote from Mr. Benjamin Bloom, a psychologist and educational theorist that our education is built around. Quote, "A student attains higher order thinking when he no longer believes in right or wrong. A large part of what we call good teaching is a teacher's ability to obtain effective objectives by challenging the student's fixed beliefs. A large part of what we call teaching is that a teacher should be able to use education to reorganize child's thoughts, attitudes, and feelings." Benjamin Bloom. So, just a little food for thought. There's a lot more where that came from, but...
What was the source of those last few sentences that you said, Nicole?
Well, this is a direct quote.
Where did you find that? Where did you come across that?
Let's see. 1968. What was it? 1968 is the date.
I know what I'm saying is...
Well, I will provide you with the source
You
the
want-
next time. I have a list of all of them, so I will provide you with the direct source. But it's funny that that's the initial reaction, is to
Well-
challenge that it's untrue.
I didn't say it was...
No,
untrue.
I understand you're not saying that, but that's generally what is challenged.
But often, when you hear these remarks, they are taken out of context, and you need the context to give it significance. So I would just be cautious.
So you want me to provide context, and then I'll
No, I want you
provide...
to tell me
The source.
the source of where this did it come up on Breitbart? Did it come
No.
up on, you know?
It's not anything that has been in the news
Okay, but-
recently.
But
This is,
somebody brought this to, some source brought this to your attention.
yes,
And so it's out there being discussed and that kind of thing, and I think it would be very important for us to
yes.
know where this comes from.
Okay, I will have that. I have it all in a chart here, but I don't have the source in front of me. So I will make sure that I provide that at
Thank
the
you,
next, and thank you
appreciate
for that. You're right. I should have had the source with me.
And that is an example of critical thinking skills right there, because you should look at things like that rather than just a quote or whatever, because it's only within the context you understand what's going on. And sometimes what happens is a person makes a quote at an earlier time in their career, and then the latter part of their career is no longer valid. So I thought that was good. You must have gone to a good high school and a good college, Kathy.
Touche, Pat.
Okay.
Even if it was in Louisiana.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Do we have anything else from the board?
I just have two things real quick. I'd like to remind the President we discussed the letter, and has there been any action taken on that?
Mrs. Desire, the letter.
Letter for, I'm sorry.
A letter of appreciation to one of our teachers. Have we taken any action on that? We'll discuss it later.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank right now, Mr.
Okay.
Ward.
We'll discuss it later.
Okay.
The other thing is on the transportation. I think we ought to consider possibly having a day for people to view the new purchases.
Sure.
Let the community see what we actually purchased and actually view what we're spending their money on. That's all I've got.
I did have one other announcement. The curriculum committee is next week, and that's also a public,
Is it next week or the week after?
the 26th, right?
Is it?
26th. Oh, and there's also a Citizens for Havasu Schools meeting on the 22nd, so we won't have another meeting before that either, and I believe that one's in the high school. At 5?
When is that?
The 22nd?
It's going to be a busy week.
It is. Very busy week.
It's not fun once you stack everything in.
What time is that meeting?
I believe it's 5. They're always at 5. The citizens meetings?
Yes. I apologize, I am just totally.
Well, we don't have, there's an
Next
agenda,
week is-
agenda hasn't gone out yet, but they were always at 5 o'clock historically, so I believe it'll be at 5, but it's in the theater, or in the PAC.
Yeah, that's 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay, moving to communications, item number 9. Do we have any suggestions for future agenda items from the board? Hearing none, I'd ask our representative from today's News Herald if he has any clarifying questions. Okay. I will tell you that our next scheduled regular board meeting is going to be February 20th, 2018, 6 p.m. right here. Week before that, at 4 p.m. is the work session. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
It probably would be worth reiterating, however, that we will be considering the
Special board meeting.
Special board
special
meeting
board
just
meeting
before.
just for the bond on the guaranteed maximum cost.
I'll make a motion we adjourn at this time.
I second it. Thank you guys for letting me finally have a second.
Already second?
I tried.
Come on. I know you guys
I
from the
tried
south.
3 times.
Terry, get us out of this.
Yeah.
Alan Ward,
Yes.
Kathy Cox,
Yes.
Nicole Cohen,
Yes.
Scott Madison.
Yes.
Thank you.
Stand adjourned.